Okay, so here's my attempt at doing my own IFS, and I thought, well, I'm going to try a letter of the alphabet, and uh, this is just, I started with the unit square, but so here are my different transformations. Now, I ended up using four, and I found I kind of needed to do that. Now, so there's a video in the instructional content that talks about how I kind of went about thinking about doing the F, and so here are the four transformations I came up with. And now as you look at these, I believe these first two are the horizontal bars of the F. So there's the top bar, there is the middle bar, or well, middle, the lower bar for the F. And then actually I did, because I needed a contraction mapping, I thought, well, I actually did the vertical bar in two pieces. And I have the first piece. This is, I think, the top, and this piece here is the bottom. And so as you look at these are pretty simple transformations. This first one, right, when I multiply the x and the y, it takes the y part and makes it the new x, and it takes the x part and makes it the new y, so they kind of switch places. But you see, my width of the bars, I'm trying to make about 0.2 out of 1, or 20%, and the width I'm making about 7/10 the height. Now, why did I switch those? Well, I didn't when I first did it, but what I found happened was when I did the X, it just kept making the F skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. But I wanted the F not to keep getting skinnier. But after I thought about it, that made sense, that I took the first set of points and the X values were 70% as far out as they had been. And then next they were 70% out, so they were only 50% out as far as they had been. Well, if I keep the height of the F at 1 by doing these two things down here, then every time I do the 0.7, it's always 70% of 1. And similarly with the 0.4, but that's why I switched the use of the X's and the Y's on that. And so they're just things. It's somewhat art, somewhat understanding what's going on. But I got it wrong the first time, and actually, when I just ran the code, I played with it a little bit. It's doing a bit better than I thought it was. So it's interesting. I may have succeeded. To tell you the truth, I thought I had failed a little bit at this, but maybe I got it right. I don't know. And so there, I simply went in and edited my matrix A's to do what I thought it ought to do, and we'll see what that is in a minute. And then also messed with the shifts, and you see all of these simply shift the y value some. So I shifted the y value all the way to the top, and that makes sense to make that top bar. So again, I said I was making the top bar. And now notice I used a minus 0.2, so that actually, it made the height of this thing just 0.2, but I made it negative, and so in essence subtracted it from 1. So I started at 1 and went down to 0.8. And and then, here for the, the lower bar, I started at 0.6, and I think that was also a negative 0.2. And that was, I believe, one of those things I did experiment with a little bit. I think I started with just a 0.2, and it wasn't doing what I thought it would, and so I thought about the transformations a bit and got those right, I think. And then similarly here, I did the same kind of thing with the vertical bar, but I made half of it at a time, and that's why I'm shifting by a half. So here's the top half, and I made the Y value half what it was, and then shifted it up by half. Oh, okay, that should work. And then here, I made the Y value minus 1/2 of what it was, and so it put it in the negative and shifted it up by a half. That got me the lower part. And again, I just kind of played with things a little bit at a time to kind of see what they might do. But it appears I was pretty successful, and like I say, I wasn't sure I was so successful. And here I just changed to the unit square to start with, and we'll see that plotted. But see, I have 0, 0, then 0, 1, then 1, 1, then 1, 0, then 0, 0. So smaller to begin with. Now, the only thing I need to fix yet is, see, it says loop through 6 iterations here for this lowercase n. You're asked to just do 1 iteration to begin with, just to kind of help us see what's going on. And so I'll hit that and evaluate and come down here. So there's the unit square, see 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, back to 0, 0. And then here's the results. And it looks okay, right? The F is only 0.7 now. It made it wider. I could work with the plot. There are options with the plot to make this 0.7, because I see, it looks kind of funky because it's sort of stretched out wide. I could work with the plot. I don't know that I'm going to, but so there's the top, and you see the blue, it made that rectangle and put it up there. Then the green, it made that rectangle out of the 1, 1, or the unit square, and it made the top half rectangle and put it up there, made the bottom half. And so there's my first iteration. It looks like an F. And again, it would look a little better if it was, if this went to 1, if the aspect ratio was 1. And I think, well, actually, let me see. I was playing with it over here too with something else. Let me see if I can, so here, if I add this, so I'm going to do a Control-C and copy that, and I'm going to come back up here and just down here before I say plot show, I'm going to add this command, plot axis, make them equal, and I'm going to hit evaluate again and see if that makes my F look a lot better. Oh, look at that. That's nice, right? See, that looks like an F. Okay, so I did that. Now, and I can copy that and put that into my paper to turn in. But now I need to go back up here, and I'll do more iterations. 6, yeah, let's try 6. I'll try 6, and if that that seemed to go really fast. And you see, it's working, right? It's filling in these other things. It's still at the 0.7 and so forth. So it looks like I think it's working just fine. And so, but it did it really fast. So I'm going to do maybe I'll try 10. That's pretty big. Let's try 8 and see how long it takes since the others took so long. Okay, see, it's thinking. And now the only thing I didn't like, though, is it wasn't really filling it in solid. And so in that way, I was failing. Okay, so it really wasn't what I had hoped for. I was thinking it might look more solid. So, I didn't get quite what I wanted. And this has taken a little while for 8. Maybe 7's the magic number. And it could be I defaulted to 6 for you all for the code, because 6 tends to work pretty well with 4. Yeah, see, so 7 worked pretty well. So again, see 7, but I don't like it because it's sort of just filling stuff in there, filling in there, filling. I don't know. It doesn't do what I thought it would with the fern. I was kind of hoping it would sort of fill in this and start to make it look solid. It doesn't look solid, and it doesn't look like it will ever look solid. And so I did succeed in making the F, but it was really just the first iteration, and then the other iterations I'm just not happy with what they're doing, and so it was mixed success. I kind of got what I wanted, but not exactly. Now I could change this polygon up here, my starting polygon. Now I used 0, 0, 0, 1s and so forth, and I kind of based my collage on that. So does it really screw it up if, say, I go to -1s, right? If that's what I start with, I don't know. It might. I haven't tried it, so let's evaluate. And yeah, see, it kind of, so again, I maybe sort of failed in that I didn't really quite make something that works so kind of no matter what I start with. And actually, one of the neat things about most of these really nice IFSs and images, typically whatever you start with, they still end up making that same image if you do enough iterations. And so here, right, not so good. And so you see, it's not perfect. It's basically what I was trying to do, but I need a lot more work on it. I need to understand these IFS a little better. And so the part of the point of this video is just to show you what you need to change. Right, you need to change the M's and the T's, and then the starting polygon, probably not a bad idea to change that just so it's not so big. And then you need to change the number of iterations. You need to do 1 just to kind of see what your IFS is doing. Does it look like it's basically doing what you want? And then go up to 6 or 7 and do it that way to see how it holds up under more of them. And again, mine held up okay under more of them as long as I started with the right stuff. But then when I went to the negative rectangle to start with, it kind of made something funky looking there. So yeah, so the point is, you might fail. That's okay. The idea is, this is what I want you to try to do, and try to explain in your paper why you chose the matrices here that you did, and what you think it's going to do, and and it may or may not, but that's fine. All right, so we'll call that somewhere as almost success. I'm mostly happy with my first try here. So not too bad. It's not too disheartening. Now, and I say my first try, I tried a couple other things that without the negatives up here and so forth, and they didn't work that well. So it's not even truly quite my first try, but I will say I didn't put a huge amount of effort into trying to make this. So there you go. there is my attempt at an IFS.